Welcome to Alaska Babble, where they babble and I gaggle. Today we are joined by Bella Johnson and Costco Clementine. We're joined by Clementine Markle to speak about spooky things that happen at night that may make you want to jump out of bed. But before we go into the horrible details of one's experiences, that was probably not the best way to put it, but we're just going to roll with it. I'd like to talk to you about something that we have not talked about before, and what I mean, we talked about it last episode. We got Saratoga Water with us today. You can sponsor us, Saratoga. I need money desperately. So please sponsor us. With your help, anyone that drinks Saratoga can vibe into the fourth dimension. So please, for all the children out there, sponsor us. Thank you for listening to us. It's just so pure. From the glacier waters from the Antarctic.
I think it's spring water. It's spring water.
Well, you know what? I was lied to. So,
I think it's tap water.
it's not tap water. It's
Fix
not tap water. Okay, it's not tap water.
Okay.
Anyways, we're here with Bella today, who's going to talk to us about her ghost and demonic experiences she has
Hello.
experienced. Hello.
Hello.
So, Bella, why don't you take us away with your history of your encounters?
Okay, but first I have a question for Costco Clementine.
I
Let's go away. Why are you interested in joining us on this particular podcast?
Because I heard from Taiken that you had a haunting of sorts that involved demonic entities,
Mm-hmm.
and I am a theistic Satanist, and I study demons as a hobby.
Oh, interesting.
And I love ghosts. It's like my favorite thing in the world. Um, so I was like, ha, wouldn't it be so funny if someone being haunted by demons and someone who works with demons were on the same podcast? And his eyes lit up, and I saw
a
the cogs
glimmer.
turning. I
Yeah, it
saw the
was a
glimmer,
glimmer
I
in
saw the
my eye.
cogs turning,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and here we are today.
And here we
Okay,
are.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I'd first like to say that I have experienced spooky, scary things with my siblings as witnesses for as long as I could possibly remember. We had several haunted houses, one that was more haunted than the rest, and we just had real scary stuff. So that's why I believe in this stuff so hard, is because I've actually seen it with my own eyes.
So when you say several haunted houses, we're talking more than five.
No, we're talking like two.
That's a couple.
A couple,
That's a
okay.
couple of
If you
houses.
want to get technical. Yes, our first house was haunted by a little girl, and she would appear in mirror and TV reflections. And then our second house was haunted by several things. And my friends would hate to come over because they were petrified of what things.
So how would you describe the hauntings that happened with you?
The first one, in the first house, I was little, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it, but there was an instance where I was laying in my bed, sharing a room with my little sister, and my face was towards the wall, and then all of a sudden, I feel this tap on my shoulder, so I look back thinking it's my little sister, but it's not, and then I scream for my parents because it's pitch black in the room, and they came busting into our room, both of them, so that I know it wasn't there, and as soon as they turned on the lights, poof, he's gone.
So when this incident happened, how old were you?
I was probably like 6.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
you
pretty
know,
young.
it's actually really interesting because the spookiest things happen is when you're a child,
Yes.
right? I know when I was young, right? This is a true story. When I was about 6 years old, maybe a little bit younger, I had the worst nightmare that I still remember to this day.
Hmm.
Okay. It's when Evil Big Bird came out. And
You
I'm,
lost me.
well, I'm getting to that. Evil Big Bird broke open the walls to Bert and Ernie's house and started eating them alive. And then Big Bird came in and just got destroyed by Evil Big Bird. It's amazing the things that we experience as a child, right?
I think that might just be you.
I don't know the
Well, that's why we
about the
don't fund
story.
PBS anymore. PBS, it gets you nightmares.
You know what, Tigan? I believe you because other people believed in me. So I'll be a believer in your story.
No,
whether
I
it's true
absolutely
or not.
believe you.
That I had a nightmare about Big Bird is it's pretty hard not to believe.
Yeah.
Have you
I
seen
don't
that
know for you.
creature?
I don't know.
Have you
It's
seen Big
professional.
Bird?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's pretty scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Bird is pretty scary.
Wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PBS, if you want to sponsor us, just let us know.
Shout out to PBS.
Shout out to PBS kids.
Yeah, PBS kids. We're all PBS kids here.
Yes,
We are.
yes, we are.
What's your favorite PBS kids show?
Ooh.
Ubi?
Yeah.
That's what it's called, Ubi? Yeah.
What was my favorite PBS show? I would arguably Sesame Street, but no, Dragon Tales. Dragon Tales. Dragon Tales is my
Yeah, Dragon Tales. I
yeah.
think that's kind of objectively the best one.
Dragon Tales, something in a book, something in a book, and a snail.
Take a look in a book.
No,
That's reading Rainbow.
that's Reading Rainbow. Bear in the Big Bear in the Big Blue House. That's really good.
He always freaked me out. I did not.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I what? But Goodbye Moon.
No.
Goodbye,
He
so
would literally
long
go up to
until
the
next
camera and
time.
go,
Yeah.
I smell something.
No, there's something
No, thank
smelly
you.
in here.
You're getting nightmares from Big Bird and not that abomination.
You know what? I
For
can
real.
say that my nightmares make sense. What the subconscious absorbs is just crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Ironically, no, I love horror movies, right? Horror stuff, I enjoy. It's my thrill to get myself spooked.
Well, I think that's because it's meant to be scary. It's not meant to be a comforting bird to a child.
I will say, I just watched the Conjuring series, and the second one was actually pretty comforting to me because it was semi-similar to what I have experienced in the
Really?
past. Yeah,
Which one is the second movie?
it's the one.
It's the one where they go to England.
Yep.
It's actually
Okay.
really interesting because recently the real story of that, she came out and said, "Yeah, I made it all up."
That is insane.
Yeah.
Rude.
She said she literally came out. I forgot the name of the little girl, right? But she said, "Yeah, I made it all up."
That's
That
very
is
nice.
crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it made a good story.
it did. You know, the true story about it is that Ed and Lorraine Warren did go to England, right? But they only stayed for like half a day and said, "Yep, there's definitely a demon in here.
Oh my god.
There's for sure a demon in here. You gotta, you gotta put some sage around the house and get the hell out."
That is crazy. That keeps just giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Say that thing.
So you said that The Conjuring 2 gave you familiar senses of
Yes,
what
it did.
happened to you. So what happened to you that, makes you resonate with The Conjuring 2?
Well, that is what these notes are for.
I am so
If we
ready.
wanted to get into that.
I'm ready. We got time. We
Okay.
got Satoka water.
2 bottles
Two,
for the viewers who can't see.
Bottles.
2 bottles.
For the listeners.
Remember,
Yes.
Satoga, you can have us if you pay us money.
Wait, who's
You can
us?
have
Are
us
we
however
gonna get
you
money?
want, Saratoga.
I have a signed release for you over
Yeah.
here, and you, by the way.
Mhm.
So, Saratoga, you can have us. I'm much prettier, though.
Megan. Okay, well, I've had nightmares for my whole entire life.
Mhm.
But about last August is when they started to be really, really, really bad.
Okay.
It started off 3 times a week. This weird black, like long, skinny creature would come out of like this closet that I had in my room, and he would just come right here to my face and just like stay there, and I couldn't move for like the longest time. And um, stop me at any time if you have input on
Insight.
what kind of demon it was, but yeah, for a long time it was just sleep paralysis, and then before this, when I was in middle school, when the dreams started happening, I would try to escape from my room, like get out because this thing was really freaking me out. and I could not leave my room. Like it wouldn't let me. I tried to open the door, wouldn't open, and sometimes I couldn't even make it to the door. The thing would like fling me across the room really hard.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
So this is, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So you've been having this same haunting since last August, right?
Yeah.
And when you're saying that it flings you to the room, is that in a dream or is that
Yeah, it is in my dreams.
okay?
Yes, when I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yes, there's no physical
not
being unit.
yet in the story.
Okay.
The lore, we're building up the
Building
lore.
it up.
Yeah, we're building it
Yes,
up.
yes, we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like a sleep paralysis. I honestly thought it was just normal run-of-the-mill nightmares because my family is prone to having extreme nightmares.
Mm.
But in the dreams, they would start to go happen every single night, and they would get more elaborate and crazy. He would disguise himself as my loved ones in my dreams, as well as like inanimate objects.
Mhm.
And in the dreams, I could always feel that something was off and super sinister and dark and scary. And yeah, I would just try to dream jump, like go to another dream, and he would follow me there. Like I'd look into a crowd, and there he was, like right in the middle of it, just staring at me. I dream jumped, and now I'm at my mom's house, and I'm looking around the room like something's not right. And lo and behold, he was posing as my mother, which was really scary also. So yeah, those dreams got more and more crazy and started happening more and more frequently. I would only get probably like 3 hours of sleep a night because they would keep me awake for so long.
And that's still the same pattern as in right now. Like if you were going to go to bed right now, you only get about 3 hours of sleep.
No, now in today, I am pretty healed from it, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you kept saying dream,
Yes, yes.
dream jumping quite
Mm-hmm.
a bit. Can you define what dream jumping is?
Okay, it's when you're asleep, you're in a dream you don't like, boom. You you say you want to leave and you go to a different one.
So you're trying, or no, you're trying, what you're saying right now is that you have some control of your subconscious when it comes to. So what did you say that you're in between a dream state when this happens when you're trying to dream? Good God. Dream jump.
Yes, yeah. I don't know that I don't know. I'd have to do a sleep study on it, but I am very in control of my dreams. I know how to like control them. I know when I'm in trouble. I can do anything in my dreams that I could possibly
When
want.
you higher and
Lucid
lower
dream.
your cholesterol.
Yes, I'm a big lucid dreamer. Well, in your dreams you don't give a fuck.
It's okay. It's
Wow.
okay. I mean, I'm just wondering, can you higher and lower your cholesterol at will in your dream?
Maybe in your
Probably.
dream body, maybe not
Yeah.
your physical
Probably.
body.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't really care because I'm being chased by monsters,
That's fair
but
enough.
I have a curiosity.
Okay, what's your curiosity?
So, these experiences, I want to know. You said that it was taking on the form of your loved ones in the dreams, right?
hmm
Did this particular entity ever exit the dreams and cause anything in your personal life or real life in which they were also taking on the voices, perhaps?
like in the physical world or in
Yeah,
the
like
dream
like
world.
hearing your loved ones when they weren't there and hearing their voice in the such,
Hmm.
or seeing them when they weren't there.
That's actually a really good point.
No, not in the physical world.
Not in the
No.
physical, just in the dream.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was a mimic, which is
Ew.
yeah, they're not fun. So, one of the reasons I was very interested in coming into this with someone who is the mercy of a haunting at the moment
Mhm.
was as someone who studies demonic spirits, evil spirits, and just spirits in general, and has actively interacted with them willingly. Um, there's a lot of differences in opinion about what a demon actually is and what an evil spirit is and what a spirit is.
That's very true.
And um there's a lot of differences in opinion, and the phrase in the theistic Satanist community would be UPG, which means unique personal gnosis. Um and so there's a lot of different meanings. And so I was wondering, um because from my perspective, demons don't haunt,
Mhm.
because the demons that I associate, the spirits that I associate with demons are going to be the demons from the Ars Goetia, from the Lesser Key of Solomon book. Um,
Okay.
because he was basically the first demon worker in a way, not the first, but the most well documented and earliest that is well known. It's the Ars Goetia. Um, and those are going to be more like hellish. They're infernal. Very specifically, they are hell demons, and they have like legions and things like that. Whereas they're more closer to deities in a way. Um, if you look at the history of the word demon, it doesn't actually. The original word that it came from is daemon, which is Greek, which means basically a lesser god or supernatural entity. It was the original definition was never evil. It just took that on when it was kind of adopted by Abrahamic religions. Um, which is not to say that demonic spirits cannot be bad or cannot cause harm. It's very much up to personal interpretation of what that actual word means. But I had a thought that it might not be a infernal demonic spirit, but another type of havoc causing spirit, such as a poltergeist, a mimic, etc. Or
Yep. Yes, I did talk to one of my dad's friends, and she did say that it could be a poltergeist that is in my house because when I was having all these dreams, it was so freaky. Like the air in my house was so thick, and
mm,
my room was like no-go zone. I refused to go in there, and like things would just fly off my counter, like whoosh. And then so I have this like craft room that's like kind of detached from the living room and my rooms, and things would just fall right off.
wow.
Yeah, and I'd
Okay.
hear it, but like my boyfriend says he doesn't hear it, or he thought it was the cats, but I know the cats were both looking at me like, "What the heck was that?"
Hmm.
So yeah, all three of us were too scared to go check
Did
it out.
Zach leave the air vent open?
We have baseboards,
See.
so no.
The air vent was not open. That's good to
Um,
know.
yes, no, we do not keep the heat on in our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, from my experience with poltergeists specifically, there are two different types of poltergeists that I've personally come into contact with, and two that I know of. And they're the same type of entity, however, they are created in different ways. So, there is a kind of faux poltergeist where it is the accumulation of traumatic and violent energy that kind of makes an entity that is violent and is chaotic and will cause things to happen in the physical world, like things being knocked over, you hear to hear things, things to be touched, things to be moved, etc. And then there is the actual spirit version where it is a restless spirit who is trying to finish something, or trying to warn something.
Mm.
The one that I've had contact with the most is the restless spirit type, where it is actually a dead individual who is coming to personally warned me about someone I knew. Who she came to me in a dream, and she also was in my home, running across my walls. That was really really fun.
Oh gosh.
Thank you, Jessica. Love you for that, girl. She did save me a lot of trouble though. Did scare the living hell out of me,
Mm-hmm.
but so my curiosity for the poltergeist would be maybe the area that you're in. It'd be interesting to figure out which type of poltergeist it would be. So if it's someone or something that was created.
Yeah. So when I reached out to my dad's coworker, she brought me to this dude who, like, do you believe in past lives and stuff?
Absolutely.
So he said that it was my husband from a past life. His name was Jonathan.
I
We,
just got chills.
okay, yeah, I wrote it all down. We had a horrible, toxic relationship.
Hmm.
There was finger pointing, lies, cheating on both sides. Like, it was the worst thing. And he said that he's still hung up on it because he helped me heal. And now he wants his energy back to kind of, like, heal himself
Move
and kind
forward.
of process and move forward. Yeah.
1 second. Hey, babe. Does the recording still, do you need to switch out the camera or is it all good still? So don't worry about the time limit. Okay, cool. Never mind. Continue. I was just making sure because we're reaching close to the 20-minute mark.
We're way past it.
We are?
It's
So
still
how are
going.
you doing it still?
Because I'm on some.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna go with
period.
it.
She can just
Uh,
do that.
You can just
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
It's called being a wizard.
Period. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, he said that he's been attached to me forever, like since I was little, and that would explain like all the crazy things that I can see like in the dark when I was a kid, like all the figures that I saw, the sleep paralysis thing that I saw, the thing that tapped me on the shoulder, my sister, she's very, spiritually sensitive and she sensed all this kind of stuff too. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I got the receipts.
So
That's so
you just told me, I mean, not what you just told me, but I've been hearing a lot that your whole family's kind of sensitive to this stuff,
Yep.
right? So do you think it's kind of a hereditary thing that people are more sensitive? Do you think your family specific is very sensitive to this because of?
you mean like
Personally,
mediumship?
I think so, yes. Well, as far as I know, it starts with my grandma on my mom's side.
Mhm.
And my mom, her intuition is killer. And, my two older sisters as well, they are very spiritually in tune and sensitive. And they said it happened when they turn like their lower 20s. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
that's the time that's happening to me too.
So there's
Actually,
actually
Yeah.
I have the exact same experience there.
Mm-hmm.
so what would you say is the difference between someone being very empathic and versus being spiritually, you know, connected, right? Because there's a lot of people that say that if you're an empath, like a really strong empath, you can literally feel and you know feel that emotion inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's kind of an empathic ability, is to be able to feel it and be able to experience it. Is there a difference, you think, between that and being spiritual, or do you think
I
they're
think
one
so.
the same?
I do think so too. Because you can be a hardcore empath and have zero intuition.
Hmm.
Spiritual
Yeah,
intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. In my experience, I would say that they are different, but they can definitely be very, very closely interwoven.
Okay.
Because all of the intuitives and mediums and things that I have met have also been very empathic and empathetic. But it's not always the same reversed.
So when it
Um,
comes down to it too, I kind of wonder, why do spirits keep hanging on in this plane of existence? Why not move forward?
there's a lot of answers to that one.
Okay.
There's a lot of answers to that one.
Yeah.
Um, that so in addition to the whole theistic Satanism thing, I also work with the dead. I'm not a death witch per se. Um, my partner is, but I interact with the dead a lot. Um, some people have referred to me as a necromancer or a living Ouija board. Um,
Ooh.
it's really fun. I also
Ooh.
love Ouija boards. They're very, very wonderful and not as scary as people think. That's neither here nor there.
I don't know, the horror movie Ouija gets me a little bit spooked in the night.
Yeah.
It is a scary movie, I
It's a
will
spooky
admit.
wookie.
It is a very spooky, wooky movie, but
Spooky wookie movie.
I Ouija board has actually been one of the safest modes of communication that I have found and one of the most easy to understand. And I have one in my home, although it is um, protected by the deities I follow.
So
So
when you mean deities, right? To to be a theological satanic, am I saying that right?
theistic Satanist,
Theistic. Oh
as
my God.
opposed to atheistic.
Yeah.
Can you
So
explain what that
yeah,
is?
explain that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, I love talking about this. Okay. So, when the general public thinks of a Satanist nowadays, with the exception of like hardcore religious people who use satanic and Satanists as an actual like you worship the devil, you're evil.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, people will think of an atheistic Satanist, so like the Satanic Temple, the Church of Satan, etc. Which is an ideological viewpoint. It's more political than it is spiritual. It is an identity that has nothing to do with religion.
Right,
So they use, yeah,
because the satanic church is counter religion.
yeah. Essentially,
Yeah,
it is counter
it's
religion.
counter religion to Christianity. It's
Essentially,
supposed to be the opposite coin of it.
yeah. Essentially, so it's more of like an ideological standpoint or a political viewpoint. So they use the image of Lucifer as an adversarial force, to reflect the opposite of what Christianity is and what the bad parts of Christianity is. So the Satanic Temple is more about things like worldly things and being okay with, you know, the promotion of that. and they're active in a lot of politics and things. They're in a lot of ways they're a wonderful organization. In other ways they're not. Um,
So it's
but
like other churches, right? They're churches that do really good things and then
yeah,
also do really bad things at the same time too.
yeah. The biggest difference with the Satanic Temple in particular is just that it is atheistic. There is no religious belief behind it.
But you
Um,
have religious belief behind it.
yeah, so a theistic Satanist is a Satanist who actually does worship and view the entity, Lucifer, the devil, whatever you want to call him, as an actual entity and a deity. The majority of us, I would say, do not view Lucifer as what the biblical devil is, like that the evil, diabolical entity. Um, so the actual word, the the word devil does not come from English. It comes from the Greek word diabolos, which means to accuse, like accuser,
Yeah.
or opposer. And then the word Satan does not actually come from Satanas, like a lot of people think. In Latin, it actually comes from the word Satan in Hebrew, which means the adversary. So it is just an adversarial force.
Sure.
Um, and so there's a lot of in the communities I'm a part of. There's a lot of different views about a lot of varying opinions about what the theology of it is and like what the mythology of it is. I know a lot of Gnostic Satanists. I know a lot of dual faith Satanists who work with both angels and demons. There's a lot of overlap.
Well, if you want to go back to the biblical point of view of Satan, right?
Yeah.
Of Lucifer in general.
Mhm.
Lucifer is a fallen angel and he was in one of God's commands
Yes.
until he wanted to have the same power as God as in creation, right? Have you ever heard of Lost before?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Paradise Lost goes into, I would say it's the most human account of Lucifer in that sense,
Mhm.
right? Where it talks about the fall of the million angels that went down to hell with Lucifer and how he came out of hell into the Garden of Eden to tempt um, Adam and Eve to eat the tree of knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And a big part of that is, with Lucifer in general, is that he wanted to have that same power of creation. And his argument was, well, how do we know we were created by God, right? What if we were created by God? And there were people that were, there's people that rallied behind him on that fact. And there was like this big battle where, because the concept of death, right? Death was not a concept
Mhm.
at that point in heaven, right? So they kept, attacking and trying to destroy each other, but there was no way they can destroy each other because there is no death until, you know, until Jesus came out and Lucifer and the other million fallen angels, and this is why they call fallen angels, is because they fled and dropped down to hell,
Mhm.
right? And then they burned there for 9 days. And that's where the concept of agony, despair, grief came from.
Well, that's actually from Dante's Inferno, not the Bible.
Oh no, well,
The
Dante.
concept of hell that is generally,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I know what you're talking about with
yeah.
Dante's Inferno. About so Dante Inferno, Dante Algoretto. He was he was Catholic, right?
Mhm.
And as far as Dante goes, with that divine comedy, they always talk about the seven layers of hell, right? And each layer is supposed to represent a different mortal sin,
Mhm.
right? And the first layer is essentially the poltergeist, I would say, is like the layer for those who do not believe, but um, but they're not necessarily evil, right? When you go down to the final layer, where that's where Satan lives, right? And that's what. So, I guess I'm getting back to is, if you, being a theological Satanist, if you believe in the devil, would you by therefore have to believe God exists?
Yes, and I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my view around Abrahamic religions such as Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, Judaism, etc., around that God that they all share, mine differs greatly from the majority of Satanists that I talk to on a regular basis. A lot of the theistic Satanists that I talk to on a regular basis are very anti Abrahamic religions, anti God in a way, anti angel. They think of, well, in a way, there are a lot of Gnostic Satanists that I know. And in Gnostic Satanism, they believe that the demiurge, which is the Gnostic kind of adversary, I guess,
Hmm.
they believe that he is the same entity and he is the creator god and that he was a mistake made by Sophia, who was in Gnosticism an entity that was came from the Pleroma, um, and that's kind of a whole can of worms to get into, but
No, I totally understand where you're coming from with that, but that comes down to my point, right? Because, ultimately what Satan wants to do, like his ultimate goal, is to not have anyone worship God, right? So,
disagree with that personally.
Yeah, I think it's whatever you believe in. That's just like,
Yeah.
well, if we're talking about the
And
biblical perspective of it,
yeah, I
like
don't
from his
yeah.
lore, like the original source material.
Yeah, but there is also the fact that the Bible is not the only place that this adversarial entity has shown up. It shows up in the Torah a lot. It shows up in other holy books,
Yeah, and
and it
Torah
shows up
is
in
Abrahamic
it
too.
is,
It's
yes,
the
completely.
original source. It's a landlord.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
basically.
landlord.
Yeah,
It's a
it comes up in a
monopoly.
lot of different and it comes up in a lot of different Abrahamic religions, and it comes from a lot of different other religions. Generally, theistic Satanists don't believe only in what the biblical view of the devil is. There's a lot of conglomeration of different viewpoints. So like there's a version of Lucifer in Roman and Greek mythology. He's called Phosphoros.
Yeah, sure.
He's the morning star. He is associated with Venus, just like kind of like Aphrodite is, but different.
But
He
those are
is the
different
star.
pentagons,
Yeah,
pantheons,
pantheons. Yes,
pantheons. Yeah,
yeah, they're different pantheons. And so in theistic Satanism, a lot of the time, most of the time in my experience, it's not just you read the Bible and you take what's there and that's what you worship. That's a different sect of theistic Satanism called diabolism, where they actually believe the exact story as told in the Bible and other Abrahamic texts, and they worship that. That is not the sect I come from. I follow a little bit of a different theology. I think of God and the devil as more like a yin and yang type of energy.
yeah, and that's what it's supposed to be, right? God is the light, Satan is the corruption,
I
and
don't think of it as corruption. I think of it as light versus dark. And both are extremely necessary
okay,
in order for there to be balance.
sure.
And I don't believe, personally, in my own belief, that they are enemies. I don't hold that belief. A lot of the people I talk to do. Um, but I don't think that. And I
Okay.
am not anti-Yahwist at all. I know a lot of people who are. But I am very much not. I have all the respect for all of the Abrahamic religions and people who follow them, and I am not the adversarial energy that I follow is not adversarial necessarily to that. It is just the other side of the coin and the one that is scarier to people.
Okay.
Um, it's more taboo in a way. It's just like how people don't want to think about the fact that they're going to die and how death happens, and they don't want to think about other bad things. It's the other side of the coin because that is an absolutely necessary part of life, and it can be a beautiful thing. And that's kind of how I view it.
So what is the promise as what Satan would give you by following him?
In a way, it is a word, a phrase that a lot of people use is self-deification. And I don't necessarily love the connotations of that, but in a way, it is accurate because it is the pursuit of ultimate knowledge. He is the light bringer, and the way that I view that is the shiner of light onto all things unknown. He was the serpent that came and had them take a bite from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Mhm.
That to me is not a bad thing, and I don't believe that it was as detrimental as a lot of people view it to be, because it is knowledge of good and evil. Those things were going to exist regardless, and to be kept in ignorance is what is bad to me. I think it was liberating, and it was a more of an act of liberation than it was adversarial, I
Yeah.
guess.
And if we were even to go back to that, right, if then we should probably get back to what the original topics
Yeah.
pretty soon, right? Is, when it comes to if we're talking about the fruit of wisdom, right? It wasn't necessarily that the whole point of it is free will, free choice, right? So, Adam and Eve, even though they were tempted to eat the fruits, right? It was the freedom that they could eat the fruit. That's the whole part, is having the freedom of choice. And that's the whole point of that story, is that they chose to eat that fruit, even though they were tempted. There was any point of that God could have said, don't, could have forced them to stop, right? Or could have said, no, Satan, you can't go to, the Garden of Eden, because that was his domain, right? But he chose to let it happen because of that free will aspect of it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Wait, I have a question.
sure.
So you believe that Adam and Eve like happened and God created the world, all that stuff.
That is a little bit complicated. That is something I'm still kind of trying to decide because so I am what is called polytheistic. So I'm not only a theistic Satanist, I also am a Hellenic polytheist. And I also believe in um, the Kemetic religion. I believe in a lot of different religions, and I believe that there is truth to every religion. Don't necessarily believe that the Christian God, the big man up in the sky, is the one who created the entire world, and I don't necessarily believe in him as this creator God. I don't believe that there is one creator God, and if there is one creator God, I don't believe that it is of God's status. I believe it is far beyond that and not something to be worshipped. It is just creation itself.
Mhm.
So I don't believe in him as the creator God who created man and created the earth and all of that in the 7 days or whatever. Um, but I do believe in him a as a positive entity overall. Um, do I think sometimes he maybe gets a little bit too big for his britches and is very strict on a lot of things? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am not under the impression that Lucifer cannot do the same and that any other god can also not make decisions that we can view as positive or negative, depending. But I also believe that gods are beyond um, moral, right and wrong, right and left type of thing.
We're talking about the divine command theory at this point, right?
In a way, yeah.
Have you read about the divine command theory?
A bit, not as much as I should, but
Yeah.
a bit.
So in essence, right, the divine, what Socrates and Plato would talk about all the time is that if God said, here's a good example. God said genocide was correct. Does that mean it's correct if it comes from God, right? That's really what the divine command theory comes from, in the sense of what they always talk about. What's the morality of right and wrong,
Yeah.
right? So, it's going back to the whole demon aspect too, right? Uh, the way I see it, right, in my sense, is that when it comes to demons, like, I see demons as people that want to tempt you
Okay.
by giving you what you want,
Mm,
so you can be, so they can, take you away from God, right? Because ultimately, the way I see it, right, is that what Lucifer wants at the end of the day is for everyone to, he doesn't want you to have a relationship with God in general. So he'll do everything he can to tempt you to be away from, like, the fruit of, the fruit of wisdom, right? It's a temptation.
to be
So
away from it?
to be away from God, right?
To be away from God or away from the fruit of knowledge?
Well, anything, right? Say that Satan came here and said, "Hey, look, if you, if you, if you want $1 million, you can have it, but you can't have a pact with God anymore." Right? It's that temptation. It's like they'll it gives elevated status. It gets you what you want. Such like the Ring of Power, like in Lord of the Rings, right? The Ring of Power always promised the the user anything it wanted as long as you returned it to Sauron,
Yeah.
right? And that's the way I see it in my perspective of it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's a very, very common view in about Lucifer and his intentions. Um, and I don't blame you at all for having that, and I'm not absolutely not saying you're wrong. I will never call a religious belief wrong. Um, I do disagree though,
Yeah,
just
sure.
because based on my own experience, that's not the um, relationship I have with either Lucifer or God. and not the understanding I've developed over time.
Sure.
But it totally makes sense, and I can absolutely see your side.
Yeah.
All right. So,
No.
question. So, like you said, like the yin and yang, God is the light, and then Lucifer is the dark. Where do the spirits come in
Yeah.
that?
So where's the in between, right?
Yeah. So
There we
back to the
go.
spirits, back to the spirits, and back to the demons.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we need to go back to your chronological history here. You
Yeah.
brought so much paper
Yeah, we gotta go back
that
to the
No, no,
story.
we went into a
Story now.
theological
this is just
debate.
so
Yeah.
I remember
But
everything
debate.
that happened.
Yeah.
I am a hardcore atheist, so listening to this and just absorbing
It's
it
fascinating.
all,
Right?
it's very fascinating, and it is a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is a lot to think about. It's really
You
fascinating. I
know,
used to be an atheist. That's what kind of really pulled me in was that fascination.
it's just a really difficult thing because what I realize, and it's like with anything, if we're talking about politics or religion, faith, people have such a hard time coming with a dialogue with it,
I know that's a
right?
big
And
reason I
that's,
don't talk about it often is just because it's so
People will
everyone's so in
disagree.
each other's
Yeah.
throats.
yeah,
And I will absolutely be the first person to say ever that Satanists are absolutely guilty of this because a lot of them are just very much like I refuse to listen to anyone who follows an Abrahamic religion, who is Christian, who is Catholic, who is Jewish. I will not listen to you because my God is the adversary to yours. And I feel like it's very much the same on both sides at large.
yeah.
And I feel very othered in a way at times because I'm very much not that way. And I'm like, no, please talk to me about it because I want to know what you think and I want to compare and contrast.
Well, the way I see it is that a lot of people that are Satanists in general got hurt by the church at one point,
This is true.
right?
And that's another place that I differ because I didn't. I grew up atheist.
Yeah,
My parents raised me without religion. They told me they raised me to go find my own religion.
yeah. I
It
mean,
is really cool of them to do.
Yeah, it was really really cool. I got to explore a lot of things because of that and it gave me I'm grateful for it because it gave me a very unbiased view of religion. And
sure.
that is I think one of the biggest contributors to the fact that I can have these dialogues and be comfortable with it and enjoy it because I'm not like hoorah, fuck church, hate that guy. Like, I'm not like that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the way I see it a lot is that there's a lot of people that get hurt by the church. It's
It's
especially,
unfortunate.
I think of Catholicism. Catholicism, they had a
Yeah.
big impact on the church. And this is why, in my own personal belief, I'm more spiritual than I am religious because I see a lot of corruptions in the churches in general
Yeah.
that make it really difficult for me to go into churches themselves in general. Because the most interesting thing I've always seen is that the most Christian people I've ever met are those who don't go to church but have more of
Mm-hmm.
a spiritual view on things, right? Or you
Same.
can feel the Christianity in them as they are that 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 goodness about them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know, when I ever in my own personal experience when I go to church is I always see I would call them cookie cutters, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
always a similar way they behave, dress, be, right? And that to me it just comes down to religious doctrine more than actually having a relationship with God, which is
Oh,
something I always had
absolutely.
a major contention with in
Yeah.
general.
I've noticed a lot of very stereotypical Christians and people who go to church every Sunday and wear the whole suit and tie and whole shebang. They're very much motivated by dogma rather than their relationship with their God. It is more about getting a ticket to heaven than it is bringing heaven to earth. Like, it is
Well,
meant to be.
that's what it's supposed to
That's
be.
so
Heaven
true.
is supposed to be on earth.
It's
Like
supposed to be you're following in Jesus's footsteps. You're not supposed to be trying to buy a ticket into heaven by being the best boy you can.
that's literally what the definition of Christian is little Christ, right?
Exactly.
So, that's always been my predicament when it comes generally when it comes to religion and going to churches. And I'll say this, if you go to church and you feel like you have that experience, that need, and you feel connected, then that's totally great. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Definitely.
And it could be because I wasn't really raised in churches as much as I was. That really didn't give me that connection. I was more of an outsider going to churches most of my life.
Hmm.
But the most beautiful thing to see in Christianity is those that really exhibit it outside of church to be able to see it and what it means. And it's like the little things in life that you kind of see that instead of the major, big actions that people would perceive that you would need to take.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of the people who very much just, you know, follow the routine of what they think the Bible is telling them and what their pastors are telling them is a big stain in a way on the view of those religions and things. And it creates a lot of um, negative connotations to things that were not necessarily negative before, which does kind of segue us back into the concept of like devils versus demons versus Satan versus spirits, which we could probably get back to.
Yeah, it's like Bella, I feel like being in the hot seat in the middle, you're hearing all this
You're just like,
stuff and you're
okay.
mainly talking over
My
here.
head is spinning. I'm just trying to.
Round and around.
I don't believe in religion at all. I think that it's just a bunch of made up mumbo jumbo.
That's entirely fair.
Like across all the religions. Like I don't believe in Adam and Eve. I don't believe in a bunch of stuff. I just know what I've experienced and that's it.
Yeah. So
But you believe in the supernatural.
Yeah,
that was
because
what I
I
was gonna
witnessed it.
ask. Yeah.
Yes.
And okay, so you're more of like a tangible spiritualist in a way. It's like
Yeah.
if it's tangible, then you can believe it. But if
I
you
have to
cannot,
see it.
it's not physical.
So
Like
scientific.
Yes, I am very
Yeah,
based off
scientific.
of science.
And it's scientific method too. Yeah.
love that. I
Yes.
really do love that because that's it's kind of the same way for me
Mhm.
because I was atheistic until I came to contact with spirits, until I was actually spoken to by those I worship now, and until I like met dead people, you know.
Well, how did you know that you were contacted by the spirits that you worship?
That's a whole topic.
Oh,
That's a whole thing.
We got time. I mean, it's only been 46 minutes.
We got all the time in the world.
Wait, we're back from a little break. We had to go switch the battery. My beautiful wife, of course, is always recording. She's just kind of chilling there, watching this whole
Watching
show
the
go
shit
down.
show unravel.
shout out
Yes.
to Megan.
Shout out to Megan.
Shout out to Megan! Megan! I hope we, yeah, she's a great production person over there.
She's
You know,
wonderful.
she makes me worry less about what I'm doing over here
She's a
because
comfort.
she's doing over there.
Mhm.
So, you know, one she's been talking a lot about coming on the podcast. We talked about it too. You know, I probably have to get her up here as a co-host. That's my opinion. We're working on that.
I think we
She's
should.
giving me the side eye because we
Mhm.
worked on the photography thing before and it didn't go so well.
It's
But
photography.
that's photography.
Yes.
It's different.
Photography.
This is different. Yeah, this is completely different. So, shout out to you, babe. The
Shout out
show
to you,
wouldn't
Megan.
work
Shout out to
without
Megan.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers. I wish this. Yeah.
Cheers to Megan.
Cheers to Megan. Saratoga water.
It's tug of water. Keeping us going.
Mhm.
All right. So continuing on with it, we were going back to
Yes, going back to
yeah,
the types of spirits.
yeah, types of
Yeah,
spirit.
the classifications.
Tell
Classifications.
me, girl. Tell me about the classification.
Let me tell you.
Tell me the tea.
Let me tell you, girl.
Oh,
Okay,
ready?
so classifications of spirits and demons from my perspective. So, demons in particular. This is what intrigued me because you said that you're being haunted by demons. And
Yes.
so, demons to me, when I think of demons, I think of infernal entities very specifically. And infernal to me are kind of hellish leaders, essentially. So like Lucifer and then all of his other guys, like the 72 of the Goetia. So that's going to be characters like Azazel, um,
Yeah, those are
Hyman.
his commands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, his
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
his whole thing.
One of
The
them I
other
kept
kings of hell, the kings and the presidents and all that. Yeah,
the thing that always maybe I forgot this it's the demon that starts with the demon that starts with an M.
Moloch.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
What's
Mala.
the
Yeah.
demon that starts with an L?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Is there one?
there's multiple.
Okay. In my dream, he was disguised as an FBI agent. He was sitting this close to me, and he was like, "Do you want to see my real face?" And I was like, "No, ew." And he was like, "No,
Disgusting.
yeah, gross. I don't want to see that." And then he made me look at him, and he took off his human form, and all I saw was like you know, like black chalk, like sketch drawing.
Wow,
And he had
really?
like gross dark eyes, and I was like, "Oh."
Do you know what the name was? Or do you just know it's an
It
NL
started
name?
with an L. I told myself I would forget it, and I forgot it.
We're Googling it.
Ladybug. Is that the name?
Okay, but also, I only said that he was a demon because there's like him, and he has such a big presence and a toll on me, and then there's like 100 of his little tiny little minions.
Okay, so that does sound in a way like Lucifer. There is, however, others. So
That
there's like
starts with an L.
Leviathan, for instance. That is also one of them.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Leviathan.
there's
Another
also
one.
a little bit of a curveball because she's not in Christianity or Catholicism at all. Lilith, she is a consort of Lucifer, or technically in Judaism, a consort of Samael, who is actually conflated with Lucifer very commonly in theistic Satanism. Anyway, that's fascinating, and I find
Hey.
that,
Yeah.
I find that very, very fascinating.
Yeah. In a dream, so I was standing here and I was like on this lava rock, and then, but it was like just rock at the time. And then all of his little buddies were in a circle, like coming after me, like zombies or whatever. And then I said that I rebuked them because that's what Corinne told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they all got super angry at me, and then the earth cracked and I fell into a pit of fire.
That's fascinating.
You
It
know,
doesn't sound demonic to me.
really?
Shockingly. Like very stereotypically, absolutely. That sounds very stereotypical. How
Conjuring.
yeah, conjuring. It's very
Conjuring.
stereotypical. However,
Mhm.
that sounds to me way more like tricksters, which is
Gross.
a whole
I
classification.
hate that.
You know,
Love me a good trickster. I'm not gonna lie. I love them guys. They're fun to deal with. They're annoying as hell, but they're real fun.
you were talking before about mimics, right? And the
Yeah.
only experience I know about mimics is from a Reddit story, which I don't
Let's
know
see.
if you know this mimic story.
I may.
So it's this no sleep story about this sister that gets actually taken over by a mimic.
Yep, I've heard
But
that. Yep, it's the
the
new No Sleep one. No Sleep is fictional though. I'm talking about real mimics.
I
There
know,
is a
but
real classification of spirits called mimics, and they are freaky as hell, and I don't like them.
have you read that story
I
before?
believe so.
It's so bad.
It's creepy as hell.
Are you saying we're monster hunters?
It's real bad.
It's so bad.
They did that podcast.
On Wendigo, yeah,
Yeah,
the
with the
Creepcast.
okay,
Yeah.
I listened to that one
Yeah.
where they were at the cabin.
Yep.
Hmm.
Ew, I hate it.
Love No
Oh
Sleep.
no, no, that's not the cabin. So uh, that one's actually about the Wendigoon.
The
So
You
the
mean
possessor.
Wendigo?
Wendigo. I
Because
keep
Wendigoon
Wendigo.
is a social media person.
Yeah, Wendigo. Wendigo, I love you, man. Please,
Shout out to Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Wendigoon.
Creepcast.
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 Hey guys.
Creepcast.
Oh,
Cheers.
cheers, Creepcast. Saratoga.
Let's go. Wendigos. Yeah, that's a whole
Wendigos are probably my favorite
they're
Native
so
American. So cool. I love it.
absolutely wonderful creatures.
Yeah.
Horrifying, wonderful.
I don't know. It's not so
Mm.
wonderful when
So
they
you're
rip
saying if
into
I
you.
encounter one, don't be scared? Oh,
No,
There's no
no,
saying be
no. Be
scared.
scared.
Be
Be
scared.
scared.
run away. Okay, got it.
Fuck away.
So
Don't whistle. Go.
Wendigos imitate your form.
I've seen
Yeah.
Supernatural. I know what they look like.
They're here. I've been there. I was there. I have played until dawn. I know what Wendigos are.
I've seen
You know someone who encountered one in Alaska?
No.
That's different though.
No, I want to know.
We need to get back to the classifications of spirits and
All
demons
right,
because we need to
okay,
get
okay.
back to her story.
We're gonna have to come back to this whole Wendigo
It's
thing.
scary. We do. We should have a whole episode talking about supernatural creatures.
We can do that.
We should absolutely do that. I'd
Yeah.
love that. Anyway, classifications of spirits and demons. Okay, so when I think of demons, it is very specifically to hell demons, which are entities, and they're infernal entities essentially. They're all under Lucifer, and there's presidents and kings and etc. They're all the ones from the Ars Goetia, like King Payman, Azazel, etc. There's a lot of them, 72 to be exact. But beyond that, there are no other demons beyond the 72.
Yeah, because those are the 72 that fell with him.
So
Yeah.
they are the 72 demons. However, there are evil spirits, and that is typically what is conflated with demons in the general modern sense. Um, because people associate so as I was talking about dogma and how it demonizes things literally and changes things. It has demonized evil spirits and made demons evil, which, in my opinion, they are not. There are evil spirits, and that is what people usually call demons, which is not necessarily wrong if you take the literal definition of demon. If you like go to the Oxford Dictionary, and it's also not subjectively wrong
Well,
because
they add
whenever you consider
skibbity to the Oxford Dictionary,
Skibbity
so
toilet.
I
did
can't take
they?
that. Yeah, they add a skibbity toilet, so I don't know if I can take the Oxford that
I
seriously.
don't think you should say that to me. Anyway, anyway, so demons to me are the Ars Goetia
Yeah.
and Lucifer, Lilith, etc. Those entities that are known and have names and are documented mostly by King Solomon. Outside of that, though, there are the entities and spirits that the general public has used dogma to demonize and call them demons. That's going to be characters like Annabelle, for instance, or Chucky, or what's that? With the other creepy doll? I don't know what his name is. He's
Megan.
no, that's a different. That's a show. I'm talking about
No, that's AI.
No, it's a robot. She's not a doll. Yeah, she's a robot.
Well,
She's a
she is
robot.
a doll. She's a
Yeah,
I no, she's a doll.
it depends. Anyway,
It depends. She's a doll. She's a robotic doll.
she's doll-esque. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
So, moving on. So they're more like deities to me because I view them in the way that the Greeks viewed the word daemon. They are semi gods, not demigods because that's a different thing, but they are similar to gods. They are
Lesser
deities in their
gods.
lesser gods in their
Mhm.
own way. They are powerful entities, absolutely. But the general term of demons, which I don't necessarily agree with that terminology, but they do absolutely exist. They're just different classifications of spirits, and there are so many different like referenced classifications of spirits. Um, there's a lot. Um, but I was trying to figure out which ones I think you're experiencing. Because I have come into contact with a bunch of different entities in my
And the
life,
dead.
a bunch of different dead types of things, and also non-dead spiritual entities. Were never people; they just exist on their own. Um, and they're a whole other thing. They're not dead. I work with the dead mainly, but there's other things along with that. So, um, the TLDR demons, in my view, are the infernal kings and royalty and such in the pantheon that is the infernal pantheon.
Sure.
So Lucifer, Lilith, everyone under them. Um, and so the demons that you're being haunted by, I'm trying to figure out what classifications of spirits that I think they are, because there's mimics. Oh gosh, there's mimics, there's poltergeists, there's specters, there's so many, so many different kinds. Um,
So mine wanted me to be isolated. He hated, I know it was a dude, because I can just feel,
masculine.
yes, so hard.
Was there a musk?
I didn't smell him. Okay.
I've smelled, I've smelled spirits.
Don't they
Dead?
stink?
Fascinating. Not always.
Mm,
Not always. I've smelled orange scented demons before.
interesting.
It's fascinating. I've also smelled sometimes they'll take on the scent of very specific nostalgic because the scent is like one of
Ooh.
the
Sure,
it's
it's one of
like
the senses
one
that
of
can trigger
the
memories.
scents. It's one of the big ones, and so like
Yeah.
nostalgic scents, it'll bring that
Yeah,
to
I'll
you
bring
and
back
make you
memory.
yeah, exactly, and that's how they'll get your attention. I've had a lot
Ew.
of spirits do that, not just demons or deities or whatever. I've had that experience with my own passed on sister. She's done that before to me. Tammy, she has hit me up that way. Um that's a whole different thing.
And also
Um
Jessica.
what about
Jessica?
Jessica didn't appear to me with sense. She appeared to me running across my walls
Yeah,
and in
her
a dream.
walls. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she came to me in a dream. That was one of the first prophetic dreams I ever had, and she was warning me about a person I was becoming involved with very closely, and he was a very toxic individual. Um So she came to me in a dream and warned me. She gave me signs, and then they happened the next day. And I actually saw the man's house, his childhood home that I'd never seen before. She gave me an image of that. It was so okay.
Chills.
We could go into that story, or we could move on from it.
Well, what do you guys want?
What do you want?
I don't care. You're the host.
Well, so as my job as a host is I go with what the guests have to say, right? So if you guys want to continue that on that route, I'm more than happy to keep on going that route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this dream, I am someone who has is reached by entities in dreams often, and I also have predicted things. It's very fun and very cool and
I
very
do that
slay.
too.
It's really, isn't it?
Hmm.
I love it. It's one
So
of my
what do you mean
favorite
by
things.
predictions?
Yeah, so this dream in specific, this is like the main. Okay, there's two big ones that have happened in my life where it was like this. It happened on the dot. So nail on the head type of thing. So I was becoming involved with this person who I was good friends with, and we were getting pretty close, not in any kind of weird way. He's much older than me, um, but he had some kind of fascination in me, and it started to feel a little interesting. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to analyze what I'm thinking is happening here. So, anyway, I had this dream one night where I was in this big white room, and there was a desk, and it was also white, and it was like the form of a room made out of whiteness and brightness and stuff. And there was this woman. She was dressed very plainly, but she was beautiful. I didn't get to see her face. I don't typically see faces in my dreams, which is unfortunate, but I can tell who the person is. No fucking clue who this woman was. I don't know if she was one of the deities that I worship or if she was Jessica herself. Damn clue. However, she led me into a different part of this room, and there was a projector screen. And she told me that I could ask about anyone that I wanted, and I would get an answer in a visual. I would have to decipher it in order to get the answer.
It's like a
And I was
jigsaw puzzle.
kind of, yeah. And
Well,
I was
that's
like,
isn't it frustrating? Where it's like, I'll give you the answer,
you have
but
to figure it out.
you're gonna have to figure that
Yeah.
out. Can't you just give me the answer right now?
Yeah. It was fascinating. So I asked about two people. The first one, I asked about my partner, who was not my partner yet. I don't think, no, we were dating at that point. We had just started dating, actually. And I got nothing. I could tell that something had happened, and I had seen something, but it was wiped from my memory. And I found out that's because they have hella protections and wards on them because they're also a spiritual person. Anyway,
That's awesome.
they have the sigil of a god tattooed into them that
Period.
protects them from being broken into.
Oh, that's cool.
Frustrating because I didn't get the answer I wanted, but alas. Anyway, the next person I asked about was this person. And it was a doozy and a half. Okay, so the first thing that I saw was a ring. It was a ring that I've seen in person before. It was an Alexandrite engagement ring. Beautiful stone, beautiful purple stone that shifted in the light. I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm a jewelry nerd, and so I knew Alexandrite is one of the birthstones of June. And that's kind of all I really knew. That's kind of all I got from it. And I was like, oh, fantastic. And then there was other things that occurred in the dream that I didn't really pay much notice to until later when I was at work, working at a jewelry store. Someone brought in the goddamn ring from my dream. And so I was like, wow, I've seen this ring before, and I'm seeing it again, and I just saw it in my dream. This is freaking crazy. And so I started texting this person. And I was like, you know what else I saw? Right after that, the slideshow, because I told him about it because he was the person I asked about. I was like, I want to know if this means anything to you. What I hadn't really thought about was the latter part of the dream. So I took that in and I couldn't make anything out of it. And she was like, okay, I'm going to give you another chance. Slideshow faded. Another one came up. It was an image of a house. It was the middle of the night. There was warm lights from the street lights, and I was standing across the street at a left angle from this house. It was very specific. I was seeing the house from a left angle. And I was looking at it, and there was like a tree behind it, and it was a very specific, weird shape of house that I'd not really seen before, but like it was like it exists. It's very much it's not out of the ordinary necessarily. Very clearly not in Alaska. Um, but yeah, the weather was specific, the angle was specific, everything was very, very specific. So I tell him about this as well, and I'm like, yeah, I also saw a house. And he was like, come to my work because we worked in the mall at the time. We both worked in the mall. I worked at a jewelry store. He did worked in a different store. So I came to his and I was like, yeah, so I saw an Alexandrite ring when I asked about you, and then I didn't know what the hell it meant, so I asked for more, and she was like, ugh, okay, let me give you a little bit more, give you a nudge in the right direction. So she showed me this house. And he was like, no, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. You did not. And I was like, yes, I did. This is exactly what I saw. This is the shape of the house. This was the tree. This is where the tree was at. This is where I was standing. It was like a photo, like a Polaroid. He was like, okay. Pulled up his phone, went on Google Maps, pulled up his childhood home in California.
Mm-hmm.
Guess whose house I was looking at? His
Mine?
childhood home in California. I was looking at his childhood house in California,
So
who
what's
I'd
he
never
trying
seen
to tell
before.
you?
Just listen, there's more. But wait, there's more. So I told him, he was like, holy shit, you saw my house. Okay, that's crazy. So I was explaining to him, I was like, I don't know what this was telling me. I don't know what was going on. And he was like, hang on. What angle were you looking at my house from? Where were you looking at it from? And I was like, it was like a left angle. It was like if I was looking at your house from across the street, like in someone else's yard. He was like, no fucking way. How far away? Like to the left? Like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, actually. I was looking at it from a left angle. Like I was standing there. Like his house would have been right here, my house would have been right here, and I was standing in the yard looking at it. It was very, very specific and it felt important. And he was like, so I had a childhood friend named Jessica. That's where she
It all
lived.
comes back.
That's where she
It's
lived.
Jessica.
And guess the fuck what?
You
He
found
did bad
Jessica.
things to her.
Huh?
He did bad things to her.
No. She killed herself in that home.
Oh wow.
Wait, how old was Jessica?
The time I don't remember. Um, I have no idea. They were adults at the time of her suicide.
Hmm.
Um, they dated. They had been in a relationship. They were best friends. They had dated.
You need to get this person on
And
the
He was gonna
podcast.
marry her with the ring.
no, she passed away in June.
Oh, wow.
She passed away in June. And I also found out, um, no, her birthday was in June. Right. Her birthday was in June. It's a little bit fuzzy. It was either her birthday was in June or June was the last time they saw each other in person. I believe it was the last time they saw each other in person because I was yes, okay, sorry. It's been a while. It was June because that was the time of year um that they last saw each other. What I was seeing was a snippet of her memory from the last moment that they ever saw each other. I was seeing from her perspective the last time she ever locked eyes with him and he walked up in his house into his home and she
Wow.
was about to turn around and go back home. And later on, the suicide would happen. That would be later on, though.
Oh,
That is
So,
insane.
so that was in June. The dream was in June. That's what the ring meant. It was the birthstone of June, one of the birthstones of
So
June.
did Jessica want you to, how do I say?
There's I have an answer for you. I know what you're gonna ask.
Oh, what am I gonna ask?
What the message was? I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
what
Yeah.
is the message? What did Jessica want?
So,
I'm gonna
um,
call her Jessica.
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 So basically, um, okay. Well, okay. The crazy thing. It was in June. The ring said it was in June. And he told me that she passed away in November around Thanksgiving time.
Mhm.
Almost exactly 3 years just before I was born, because I'm born November 26th.
Okay.
She died in 2003, or in 2000. I was born in 2003.
Okay.
So it was
So
almost exactly 2 years that sh okay, this alludes to it. She passed away in November of 2000. I was born in November of 2003, generally similar times. What she was trying to tell me, he was falling in love with me because he thought I was her reincarnated.
oh,
now it comes to a full circle.
He thought I was her reincarnated and he was becoming obsessed with me.
man.
Men?
Not to mention this man is 18 years older than I am.
Oh
Well, would
my
it be
god.
more like a spiritual connection at this point?
He thought I was his long lost lover coming back from
So
the dead.
spiritual connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she was warning me. She was like, this isn't what that is. He has the wrong idea. He's having dreams about you, type of thing.
Look,
You need to back away. He's not a bad person, but he is misguided, and you
Oh.
need to back away. And
girlfriend, let
she
me
came
tell
to
you.
my home in her little poltergeist form,
Mhm.
and this is where the whole poltergeist thing comes from. Entities or people who have passed away in these violent ways or have unfinished business, they will take on this poltergeist role and they will be able to manipulate things in the physical world. And that's what she did because she did die in this tragic way. And this was happening to me, and she was able to take on that form to come and warn me. And so she came into my dream, and she also came to my home and ran across my walls, girl. Um, and it was a warning. And I read tarot with her and I communicated with her in a little bit and it was basically like he's a good man, not for you. You are not meant to be in this position, so you need to back away.
So essentially, she's trying to tell you is that he got friend zoned when she was alive.
Not entirely. So they were together, but they had to break up because she had to move away.
Okay.
And then she later on went to commit suicide on the phone with him.
Oh.
That's tragic.
Incredibly, incredibly, incredibly tragic. And I feel for him. But I am not that person. And she was telling me basically, you're not that person, but he is kind of thinking you are. And so you need to make space because you're not what he needs right now, and he's not what you need right now.
Okay.
Wrong, wrong time.
This could legitimately be a good no sleep story right here.
It could be,
This could
except
be
it
a,
doesn't end in something scary. It's more sad
well, it
than
doesn't have
anything.
to be. I mean, a
It's
good
very
story
touching.
doesn't have to be a scary ending,
Well, no
right?
sleep is though.
I don't
No sleep
know.
is pretty
I've seen a
freaky.
couple of no sleeps that just ended in a sad tone or maybe in a happier tone. It just depends.
Sometimes,
It
but
just does it hit the emotional impacts that it's supposed to hit. That's really what makes a no sleep really good,
yeah, that's true.
in
But
my opinion.
that was the time that I saw the past, and then a past that I had never seen before. There was another time where I saw the future, but
That's crazy.
yeah.
So the question is, did Jessica ever contact you after that?
After that, no, I haven't heard from her because
So
she did her job. She got what she communicated what she needed.
So, going back to the conversation of, spirits that are here on Earth
And restless and
and restless, right? You believe there's no heaven nor hell because you're an atheist, Bella,
Hmm.
but there's still a spiritual presence. Well, where do the spirits go? Do they just stay in heaven or in earth for all of eternity, or
No,
is there a resting place that they go to, or do they go into hell and damnation for the rest of life? I mean,
it's a good question.
what does it look like?
well, I believe in reincarnation.
I
All the spirits
see.
get reincarnated into something. And I believe that when you're a spirit and you're about to be reincarnated, you have a lesson to learn on Earth, and you choose your mom, you choose your dad, you'd be like, okay, this is fine, and boom,
We have so
So,
much.
here I am.
so it's kind of like isn't that kind of miserable though, just going over reincarnating over and over again because you can't learn from lessons that you haven't learned from a previous life?
I mean,
Well, that depends if you believe there's a goal to it.
Well, what is the goal? I guess that's
That
always the
depends on your
question.
spiritual beliefs and your religious beliefs.
Sure, but
I mean, Buddhism, where it comes from, it is Buddhism, right?
I
reincarnation?
have no
I
idea.
No,
believe
it's
it's.
not Buddhism. I mean, it's a philosophy of Buddhism of reincarnation, but
I'm not sure of the origins, but in Buddhism, if I remember correctly, when I talked to a Buddhist, also Satanist, weird
I
combination.
don't know how
Love
that
that person though.
works.
Me neither, but they were really cool. Really, really cool dude. Obviously there is this goal of ascension in a way.
Mhm.
So it depends on your own religious views and your perspectives and what your end goal is. So I also believe in reincarnation. I also believe that you be reincarnated every time you need to learn a new lesson and you
Yeah,
need
but I
to
would think that's
continuously
just
learn lessons,
miserable though.
but not if there's an end.
Well,
You need to
But
also,
what
learn.
is the end though?
you don't remember your past lives either until you kind of like unlock them in your head. Like, I had no idea about Jonathan and my miserable relationship until like someone, you know, read that for me, but um damn,
Damn
I
it,
forgot what I was
Jonathan.
gonna say. Yeah, you don't remember. So am I miserable right now? No.
No,
Could you
but
be when you remember? Who knows?
yeah,
But
but could you be when you remember, right? Because
there's
the
a
way I
point to
see
it.
it,
It's not just pointless. That's the
so those who do not reincarnate, in your opinion, are those who stay restless in the spiritual realm.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
have a
thought that far.
perspective.
Okay, yeah.
So my perspective is you once you pass on, you can choose whether or not to reincarnate immediately. If you have things that you feel are unfinished or you just want to stick around a little longer, you can.
Dude, you could totally
Um,
float around.
yeah, you can
Mm.
totally fly around and do what you want
That's what
past the veil.
Pennywise said that too.
That is what Pennywise said. As
You
the
know,
wise Pennywise
you
said.
can float down here. We all float here.
Look,
We all float.
but the goal once you do reincarnate is to learn all of the earthly lessons from this plane that you can learn and that you need to learn and that your spirit needs to move on from the process of reincarnation
But
in a
what
cycle.
happens after reincarnation? That's
In my
let's say.
opinion, after you are done with the lessons,
Mhm.
that's when you move past the cycle and you are able to meet with your own pantheon of gods and
Yes,
whoever you
yes.
worship and the afterlife
Hmm.
that is set out for you. And that
Yes.
is also another thing about polytheistic religions and people who have dual religions or tri religions, whatever.
I think you really need to read Dante's Allegro too.
I can do that.
There's Dante's Inferno that talks about going down further and further in hell, and Allegro is actually going up and up and up in heaven.
That's
Like there's
fascinating.
multiple layers of heaven that again you get into depending of how you lived your life,
That
right?
makes sense. I don't necessarily. I mean, I do believe in the tears of heaven and the tears of hell, not in the same way that
Catholicism.
yeah, essentially. But I believe so. As someone who is polytheistic, I believe in all of the world's pantheons of religions and gods and things. I believe in the Greek gods, and I believe in the Roman gods, and I believe in the Christian God, and I believe in the infernal pantheon. I believe in all of it. And so, in my opinion, once you pass on and you finish your reincarnation cycle and you learn whatever it was you needed to learn or whatever it is you needed to do and whatever changes you needed to make and whatever impact you needed to make, after you are finished and you've met your goal, you're able to then move on and ascend up to whatever afterlife is set out for
You
you,
definitely need to read Dante's Allegro.
depending on
You're
your
making it sound a
spiritual
lot
path,
like Dante's Allegro.
depending on your spiritual path and your spirit and your religion and the gods that you worshipped. that's where you'll go. So if you are like a Hellenic polytheist and you believe in the ancient Greek religions, you'll go to the you'll go to the fields, you'll go to the reeds, you'll go wherever that is.
Or
Or
as
if you're
Reed would
Christian,
say,
you'll
you're
go
going
to
to go out to the
heaven.
pasture.
You go out to the pasture
You're
and
going to go
you'll
out to the pasture.
see the puppies.
Well, he's probably going to see a lot of puppies.
Oh, Tyken. You're first.
Awful.
Shout out.
Shout out to
Saratoga.
puppies.
Shout out to puppies, not Reed, for killing his puppies.
He never killed. Okay, he never killed a puppy. I don't
Just,
think he did.
I mean,
Are you sure?
I don't know. I don't think he did. I know he put down,
several.
several. But those who are
Saratoga. Moving on.
Saratoga. Saratoga, everybody.
Saratoga.
I wish I had some more.
Oh, we're out?
That's their
Oh, we're
slogan.
out.
I wish we had some more.
I wish we had some
Now
more.
let's pop the champagne. Speaking of champagne, moving on.
No, I was gonna say, like, I do believe also that you meet, like, your spirit panel.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
oh, I want to do that so bad. I'm like,
You can.
ready for it.
I believe you can communicate with your spirit.
I do too. I totally believe that. I just don't know how.
Maybe help you.
Oh boy.
I would love that.
Not on
I
air.
love communicating with spirits.
I'm just scared that it's gonna
I've
be a
got
bad
cards on
one.
me.
So,
I've got them on me, baby.
do you believe in astral projection?
I do.
Man, you're the best. I also believe in astral projection really hard. And this
Be friends
lady,
after this.
this lady,
We've never met before.
yeah, we've never met before, but we're vibing.
We're vibing.
That's the whole point of the show is the vibe.
Just vibe along.
And I mean, that's literally the point of the podcast,
Take
right?
your guys' cards if you want.
I'm good. I'm spooked.
Not tarot cards. I don't have my tarot cards.
Oh,
I have my Lenormand on me. I have my Lenormand cards on me.
Oh my god, please.
I'll read the Lenormand cards.
Okay, I'm
You
trying
guys,
to
you
figure
guys
out.
can do it on break. Not,
No,
I
okay.
get spooked.
Oh,
They're
that's
not
true.
spooky. It's okay.
I'm spooked.
So there was this woman I had met through another lady, and she said that I had 14 attachments to me, and 3 of them were like super sinister. And do you know what a light score is?
I don't.
Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but my light score was pretty high, turns out.
Fascinating.
And that I was having a lot of interference with like these scary entities that like wanted to isolate me. They would pop up into my head. I have a picture. Like this is what it would look like when he'd pop up into my head.
Show the
And
camera.
he would be like, you should isolate yourself. Oh, like a horror movie thing is about to start. Like someone's gonna be pounding on your door in 2 seconds. You should drive your car off the side of the road. You should.
Sinister when it's like this. Like
Well,
when it's pointed as an angle.
yeah, that's how he pops up in my head.
Like if you
From an angle.
like into the light. Ooh, that's kind of spooky, man.
Yeah, I have a
I'm
better.
spooked. I have seen
Yeah,
things like that as well.
it's freaking scary. But that's not
It
how he
is
looks
cool.
in my dreams, just like in the physical world when he pops up into my head, like, hey, I'm still here, even though you thought I wasn't. I will be with you forever. Until you get rid of me. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, but I forgot what I was gonna say. This lady, she really changed my life. She said that my spirit in the physical world was only 59% in my body because I had so much anxiety and I was so terrified of being here that I wanted to jump ship and just like leave.
Find the comfort.
Yeah, leave into my spiritual realm or whatever.
What does that mean? What does she mean, like, leave your spiritual realm?
Like you just leave your body. Like I guess
Come to the light type of shit.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. Yeah.
Impatient for the end.
All right, I'm gonna go on the break real quick. Okay, we're back from a little break. Our producer is saying, "Get the hell out of my house!
Time's up, baby.
Time is up. It's time for tea." Quite literally, it's actually close to tea time for us. Tea time is 8 o'clock.
Tea time's 8 o'clock.
Oh, we
So,
got 10 minutes.
so we're gonna wrap this episode a little bit. Wow, how long have we actually been going for? Well, how long is a long time?
I got here at 6. Yeah.
2 hours?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a part two for all this whole segue. So we're gonna have to have you guys back.
I think we just need to do video essays.
Video essays. Yeah, we covered a lot of topics here, and I don't feel like we even covered half of the things that
No, we just touched the surface.
touched the
We
surface,
touched
man.
the theology,
The theological.
the theological, and the mythology and the
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a
classifications.
we're gonna have to have you back on the show so we can do a part two on this and talk more about it.
I agree.
I feel like we kind of scratched the surface over here.
Yeah, I had all these notes.
I feel actually a little bit bad right
I
now.
have all these notes.
We got to do it like on a weekend or something where we have more time.
Okay,
And we got to
this is
sleep
just
a
so I
lot.
wouldn't forget. Plus, it's mostly for me.
Yeah. So, it's actually been a really, really cool show. I thought, the last episode was more of a crazy guy babbling about Saratoga water, which kind of hey,
Can't wait till you're right.
I can't wait.
Fox fan. Saratoga!
Japan. Answer.
Saratoga.
And PBS Kids, apparently.
And PBS Kids, you are not funded anymore.
Get fucked.
Rip.
Sadly.
Rest in peace.
Oh, God. So, yeah. So it's been a really productive episode. And we talked a lot. We went through a lot
Lots
of
of
ground
dialogue.
here, a lot of dialogue to the exact point. So we're gonna have to come back here for another part two and talk more about the spooky stuff.
I agree.
And especially since now it's spooky season,
Spooky
it
season's
makes it
approaching.
we're gonna have our pumpkin spice, we're gonna have our Kinder Souls, and the Rita Lantern is coming back.
We should do an episode where we carve pumpkins and tell ghost stories.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I have so many.
If I can make a Rita Lantern again, that would be great.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's have a lot of
I'm
stories.
gonna have to bring out my pumpkin spice volume 2.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen of Alaska, thank you again for joining us at Alaska Babble, where they babble and I gaggle.
Saratoga!
Saratoga!